Hi everyone and welcome to P2 Soccer's personal development program. Today we're working with our goalkeepers on your diving techniques. For today's session you'll need your soccer ball, a server and some objects to use as markers. You may also need to use additional soccer balls if you have them, but you can use your objects if not. Today's session is brought to you by Real Salt Lake Academy goalkeeper coach Luke Baxter. Activity 1. Set up your 4 objects diagonally across from each other to form a zigzag pattern. Run forwards and backwards around your objects, moving backwards and forwards around the zigzag. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 2. With your objects arranged in the zigzag pattern, you will launch and land on 2 feet from object to object. Bent knees, landing soft and using your arms to help take off. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 3 will be single leg hops. Go from object to object, landing on your outside foot. Try and maintain your balance when you land. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 4 will work on your front smother technique. Go towards each object with quick footwork, setting your feet and hands behind the ball. Pinky fingers together, you will smother the ball and finish on your forearms with your head and chin over the ball. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 5 will work on your low dive technique. Attack each ball. Take positive lateral steps towards the ball. One hand goes behind, one on top. Your hip and your shoulder will contact the floor at the same time. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 6 will work on 1v1 block saves. Attack each ball with your hips facing forward. As you get close to the ball, the trailing leg will drop inside and come close to your heel of the standing foot. Hands open, body weight leaning forward. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 7 will work on your smother technique. Body weight forward, low to the ground, you will accelerate through the ball, leading with your hands. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 8 will work on our spread save technique. We use this in 1v1 situations when the goalkeeper can't get their hands on the ball. Goalkeepers should get low and extend their front foot. Back leg will collapse, make contact with the ground and create a barrier. Arms wide, palms open and make yourself as big as possible. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. Activity 9 is a chance for goalkeepers to get multiple reps diving towards the ball. Start on a cone and set your 4 balls or objects in a semicircle 5 yards apart. Take short steps towards each ball with quick feet, get to each ball and perform a low dive. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. For activity 10, you will need a server. We will combine footwork and handling. This is the same setup as activity 9, with your server who will have a ball and position themselves 5 yards behind your soccer balls. The goalkeeper will use fast footwork to get around a chosen soccer ball before working back to the starting cone. As they reach the cone, the server will play a volley into the goalkeeper who will perform a contour catch. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. You can progress activity 10 by asking the goalkeeper to perform the contour catch before working their way out to a chosen soccer ball to perform a block save. Work your way through the objects 5 times before moving on to the next activity. For a final progression of activity 10, the goalkeeper will make the contour catch and then step back to their starting cone. As this is happening, the server will approach one of the stationary soccer balls and try to take a shot. The goalkeeper must close down the ball and perform a block save. Thanks for tuning in to P2 Soccer. Find more content and videos on our YouTube, Facebook and Instagram pages.